Hello. Give me just a moment to get it going on my laptop so I can have comments going. Um, I can't remember how I. Oh, there we go. Okay, Liz. There we go. I think that's good. Where's Baby Jane? I should close this for lighting. What is that sound? Oh, feedback. Got it. Better. Okay, got it. Oh, hi, Baby Jane. Oh, Mal. Come here. Oh, Baby Jane, drop off. Cool. Got that feedback settled? Excellent. Yay. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to oh, come here. Sorry, let me get Jane settled. The queen does take priority. Welcome to God, what day is it? It's Thursday. Welcome to Thursday, March 26th. Uh, there are people from all over in the chat right now. Yes, Baby Jane is here. For example, one of you I know is in New York City. I hope you are doing okay. Things are, yeah. For example, this is your old bed. Yeah, it is a very good location. Hi, Baby Jane. So yeah, Tamara, who's in the chat right now, came up with this idea. Just mentioned it to me. A lot of people are doing this. I thought it was an awesome idea. We did a live stream last weekend, and it was so delightful. So we figured we'd do it again because why not? So we asked for some questions and also some follow up. I also had some ideas about potentially reading you guys some excerpts, potentially singing. We'll kind of see what happens. But the first, I know that I had some questions from some very special friends. One of my best friends, her son, had a question for me about beaver teeth. So, August, this one is for you, all about beaver teeth. So, he was asking me why beaver teeth are so strong. And there are some really neat things actually about beavers to share here. First of all, beavers are rodents, and that means that there's a lot of special things about them. But one special thing about their teeth is that their teeth always grow. Their teeth just are constantly growing. So a lot of that like gnawing helps them chisel those teeth down as they grow. So beaver teeth are used for so many things and have to be really strong. The thing that gives teeth strength generally is enamel, and enamel can be made up of different components depending on which species you're looking at. So if you've ever seen beaver teeth, they are, well, let's see, in the chat, anybody know kind of what color beaver teeth generally are? Who's got it? Besides everyone commenting on Jane definitely being the best kitty. Yeah, exactly. Orange or yellowed. So there's kind of special coloration on beaver teeth and some other rodents. Their enamel has something a little bit different inside of it. It actually has iron. So if you look really close up and use really high powered microscopes, like a team did about 5 years or so ago, you can see differences in the actual enamel. So that pattern, that outer coating. And so for beavers, they actually have iron inside of that coating, inside of that enamel, and it helps their teeth be stronger and also more resistant to things like acid, which is actually really cool. So Augie, that was an awesome question. So thank you so much for that one. And he also asked me if their back teeth are as strong as their front teeth. So the front teeth, those incisors, the really big ones, they have a special job, whereas the molars in the back have a special job too. So if you want to talk about one being stronger than the other, it's kind of hard to compare, because if you think of your own teeth, your molars are really, really strong, but only work for certain jobs, whereas these teeth here are really strong but work for specialized jobs. So it's kind of all species that have teeth kind of similar to ours. If you think about mammals, different teeth inside the mouth are used for different things. So they're all really strong, but they're strong in their own kind of ways. Um, so yeah, awesome question. Hi Melody, welcome back. Um, and let's see another one. I'm just going through questions right now that people have generally submitted. And I'll wait. I don't know if Eric Lervold is on yet, so I'll wait for his. Um, so someone was mentioning, and this is actually a pretty cool question. So right now, with a lot of the human species staying closer to home, closer to inside, practicing social distancing or quarantine in some cases in some countries, humans are not out as much. And by out, I mean just outside of house. This also means that there's been a reduction in driving and a reduction in flying. So carbon emissions from things like airplanes and cars. And so one question someone had was just, what impact does this drastic reduction in pollution, since we have, people staying home, what kind of effect can that have long term? It is a really, really good question. Liz is asking, where's Adrian? Actually, I think, well, so he's at work right now. He might be able to get onto the live stream. Here's some great news for those of you who love the AO from A to B. I'm actually editing a video that he and I did right now, trying to get it out by the end of this week. I sent him on a scavenger hunt and he sent his footage back, and it is ridiculous. So that episode is coming your way soon, which is excellent. Oh yeah. Hey Eric. All right. So so the question that was asked is just, what kind of impact could our reduced emissions right now have? Well, and the answer is we kind of don't know, because if you think about what we know about emissions, even some of that data is not, the data are not perfect, and there's a lot that we don't know about how certain types of emissions can interact and contribute to something like climate change. Certainly, less cars and less flying right now can't possibly be a bad thing as far as temperatures, but as far as it being a long-term situation, that's kind of hard to say. All the acceleration in like emissions and in temperature, we've really seen since the Industrial Revolution. So we're only talking, a few hundred years, but that's still like hundreds of years, or even, a decade of big impact. Jane is not here for carbon emissions. She's just gonna sit beside me and judge me, which is fine. Hello from Italy. Thank you for joining. So yeah, I think it's certainly going to do something, but it might be negligible. What's cooler to me, I like the interesting thing is seeing how non-human animals are coming into human spaces. And Tamar was actually asking me about that. Let me find this. Let me see. Are we seeing wild animals coming into cities since there are less people, or are these rumors fake? So the rumors are not fake, though I can't speak to every rumor. I can say in general, there are definitely non-human animal species taking advantage of human spaces right now while people are not around. So if you imagine, raccoons or some of those smaller mammals that are what we would call urban exploiters, so they work really well within human environments. If there aren't people around to scare them kind of back to their hidey holes in spaces, they're a little more ballsy, a little more reckless, and definitely utilizing spaces more. It's not that they've taken over or anything, but they're using the spaces, and I think it's kind of a wild thought to think about. If humans were gone, which species would do what with our spaces. And I think we're actually seeing a little bit of that in some spaces. Here in Missoula, Montana, though, it's kind of hard to say because we straight up have city deer. Like there are just deer. I swear, if I didn't know better, I would say they can read, they understand crosswalks. Like it's insane. They're like the deer that are in town here in Missoula. They're like, no, I'll wait. Please proceed, car. I can wait. I understand. It's wild. They've kind of co-evolved with the city here. So there's certainly places everywhere that already have non-human animal species utilizing space, but it's happening. It's fascinating, and it's definitely something to keep looking at for sure. Yeah, you got Austin says they have some city deer around there too. Drew Shaw, do I carry a firearm when I'm out in the field? No, I don't. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, a lot of field work that I've done in the past has not in any way needed that. I mean, I feel like really firearms would be either used against other humans or something really big, like something like a grizzly bear. And I just haven't really done field work that has had either of those threats. Yeah, no, curiosity is fine. Curiosity is great, actually. So no, I haven't needed that at all. But something like bear spray, not doing field work necessarily, but just being outside within Montana, certainly during like spring and summer months, it's a good idea. Yeah, a lot of big game indeed. Yeah, Eric, that's a really good point. Like it is almost like we're seeing an apocalypse, but we have like internet access. So I'm from Florida, and I was talking to my parents like 2 weeks ago or so, and we were saying how this feels like hurricane parties, except we have electricity. It's like very confusing. Because when hurricanes come, you typically lose power. You make sure everybody's safe, but then you just are like home, then hanging out, typically drinking, playing guitar, whatever you have around. And you get a little stir crazy until the power comes back on, but everyone's inside and kind of hanging tight. And what we're seeing with this is kind of similar. Like everybody's rushing the grocery stores and then hanging tight, but there's internet and there's streaming and there's electricity. So it's a totally like different feel. It's same but different, which is very wild. Eric, now I see you are here. Eric had a question. He was asking about brain freeze and also about hiccups and about if these things could kill you. I definitely found evidence for hiccups being lethal. So hiccups can become what's called like intractable, and I think the term is singultus. So they can just become incessant, like hiccups do not stop. And when that happens, you can have things like insomnia, you can have behavior changes, and there have been documented cases where they've said that there has been death, though correlation, not causation, that's kind of a tricky one there. But certainly, I'm sorry, I just got distracted because of Tuna's amazing questions. Yes, Aria, so better than hurricane parties, but at the same time, there's a lot of fun things that happen without power on because you have to be way more creative, to be fair. Let me see. Yeah, Tuna, so did you play a lot of Rock You Like a Hurricane on the guitar during these parties? Look, there was a lot of guitar playing, none of it cogent or thematic because we didn't have the internet to pull up chords that we would have needed to figure out how to play Rock You Like a Hurricane. But you know what? I should have been prepared. Mad Eye Moody would have said constant vigilance, and I should have been prepared to play and sing Rock You Like a Hurricane. I will do better next time. Great question. What is this? What is this thing on top of the glass table? So I live in a house of six roommates, six awesome people. So me and five others. And what that does mean is that there can be just some very random things everywhere. And one of those would be this, that one of my roommates' mothers decided we needed and brought it, and we haven't found another place for it. But inside appears to be the start of a knitting project that is not mine. So, well done, team. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Power outages many times a year. Yeah, so you understand. I mean, look, like the fact that we just have easy power is certainly a privilege in a lot of places where I have lived in my life. I've never lived somewhere where power outages are just common, but I have a lot of respect for the creativity that comes with that kind of planning and living. So, well done. No, it is not a posh anything. Will Nature League ever be back? Yeah, so Nature League right now is still exists. It's just that it's only me producing it, just because we didn't get big enough, and so it was hard to sustain using it through the full complexly, like the co-production company. But those are all still my colleagues, and I still get to work on SciShow Psych, and I get to fact check for SciShow. So Nature League is just mine now. But because of school and because of work and because of, I don't know, I guess there's a global pandemic, though that's kind of redundant because pan means everywhere. Anyway, it's just a little bit harder to make videos. So I'm trying, and there are people in this chat here that have been super helpful. Tamar's had some excellent ideas. Eric Lervold has had some wonderful ideas. So the answer is yes. And Nature League is technically back. The one that the video I posted for St. Patrick's Day, like that was for Nature League. These are for Nature League. I am working on an A to B episode actually right now that I'm hoping to get out before the end of this week. So by Sunday, and it's an A to B where I sent Adrian on a scavenger hunt, and I am very excited. Right, yeah. I can do the thing. Thank you, Tamara. I appreciate you very much. So yeah, so it exists, and hey, video ideas are great. I'm working on some equipment. It's harder than I thought, but just asking for patience with not ideal audio and video quality, and figure it out. It'll be great. Exactly, sharks, indeed. Speaking of sharks, actually, no, I'll finish the questions that Eric had. So yes, hiccups apparently can kill you, though it's a really rare and specific situation where they become intractable and lead to other complications. But Eric also asked me about the Brontosaurus ever existing. Although I think you spelled it Brotosaur without an N, which I was asking some paleontology friends, and they said that Brotosauruses were known for their frat hazing and drinking problems. So that was fun. But assuming you meant Brontosaurus, yeah, so Brontosaurus actually came back for whatever that means. Paleontology is super cool because it is such a great example of how science is just exploration and finding wrong answers, ruling things out, trying new things. Paleontology is just constantly changing because as soon as there is a new discovery, sometimes everything can change what they previously thought. So unlike some of the other sciences where it's easy to get really wedded to how something is, paleontology is just like, well, guess that's different now. Kind of roll with it, which is just really, really wonderful. And so this is a great example of it. So there was the talk of, Brontosaurus. No, there's no such thing as Brontosaurus. I think you mean Apatosaurus or Brachiosaurus or whatever. Kind of a back and forth. In 2015, there was this huge, massive paper that came out that analyzed a bunch of different fossils and specimens to see kind of how that tree looked. So the relatedness between all these species. And they determined, yes, there's enough differences we see here to say that Brontosaurus is its own thing. Welcome back to the club. And so that happened. So technically, yes, we actually, the scientists concluded that they believe there are 3 known species of Brontosaurus. So yeah, Brontosaurus is back. Welcome back indeed. Exactly, Septima, exactly. Paleontology tries its best, and it's just a constantly, exploring kind of a field, which is just so cool. Just so cool. So that's that. Sharks. Someone was mentioning sharks. It was probably me in my head always. Um, yeah, I know the genetics is hard, for sure. Uh, so sharks. Had a question that said, "What makes a shark a shark?" So like when we see a shark, why do we say, "Yep, that's a shark," instead of saying that it's just a different kind of fish? Um, yes, the Brontosaurus absolutely hates them upon return. This is an absolute fact. Yes. They're known for it. They're just known for it. Um, and I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. Yeah, Brontosaurus for the win. A Brontosaurus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eric, you need to. Brontosaurus needs to obviously come into the comics, the science comics that we're doing, because that's the good stuff. Um, Sharks regrow teeth. Well, they don't regrow them. They just have a ton of different rows that kind of work like a conveyor belt and rotate out. So it's not like the exact same tooth is growing back. It's that they have a bunch that then replace and kind of roll out. It's wild. But I like this idea of what makes a blank a blank. You know, obviously that's definitely a philosophy question. But within zoology, when we study animals, life on Earth, when we split things down into different species, it's because of traits. Some of those traits are what we would call morphological, so they have to do with the morph or the shape. Some of those traits are nowadays based on genes and genetic similarity. But anytime we say, what makes a shark, we are getting specific into what makes it different from other things, and then it gets grouped. So sharks are grouped with rays, so sharks and stingrays, or we call them skates. Um, and this group is specific in a couple different ways. First of all, what makes a shark is that it has a cartilaginous skeleton. So its skeleton is made of cartilage. So if you touch the tip of your nose or parts of your ear, that's cartilage. And that's what a shark's skeleton is made of. So that is part of what makes a shark a shark. I'm looking at shark, still more rows to grow during their life. Yeah, yeah. They don't necessarily have all the teeth. They're like kind of a constantly growing and moving thing, although there could be differences with some species. I'm not totally sure. Um, so we've got that. We also have the gills. So what makes a shark? Typically 5 gills, though they can have up to 7. So 5 to 7 gills. They have special skin. It's really, really rough. So if you've ever touched a shark, it almost feels like sandpaper. That's because if you zoom in and look really closely, they have what actually looks like little teeth, and they're called dermal denticles. So derm meaning skin, denticles, dent meaning tooth. So it's like teeth, tiny, tiny teeth all throughout their skin. And that's a characteristic of sharks. And let's see, I wrote down all have teeth. Yep. Indeed. And the interesting thing though is like there are more than 500 species of sharks and more, even more than that, species of rays. So even though we say this group of species shares these characteristics, they're still so different. If you compare a leopard shark to a great white, I mean these are just such different creatures. But these are some of the general commonalities. Uh, Whale sharks have no teeth though. Okay, so that this is a really good question, or point. Um, there are adapted teeth, so they don't look the same as others. If you've ever seen stingray teeth, or if you want to Google and look it up, they almost look like teeth plates. These like really small kind of teeth plates, like smushed molars almost. Um, I just got here and Britt is talking about sharks. I'm shocked. Well, spoiler alert. I am not sorry. Absolutely not sorry. And let me look up whale shark teeth. Ooh. So there's also, a difference between having the genes and like the body plan that is responsible for making those things, and then the environmental or other gene factors that can make them appear differently or grow to certain lengths. So if you look up, yeah, they have rows of over 300 teeth, but as filter feeders, they don't need to use these teeth. So I'm looking at images and then I'll post it in the chat of whale shark teeth. They kind of look like those almost like dental plates I was talking about. Man, shark teeth are so cool, you guys. Can we just say that? Thank you for reminding me that this is the coolest thing. Yeah, let me, oh man, I don't have time to super fact check and I don't want to send something that's wrong. But I mean, if you look at, let's see, whale shark teeth. Yeah, just Google and check it out. But they definitely do have sharks, or they definitely do have teeth. How old is the shark lineage? Sharks have been around for over 450 million years. So yeah, before dinosaurs, they were grooving, doing their thing. Absolutely, way back. Which is way cool. And yeah, shark skin would be great sandpaper, though. Let's maybe not do that. I don't know. It sounds like a bad idea. Who's to say? So yeah, so dorky to me. this person, yeah. So whale sharks do have teeth. They just don't look similar to the things that we think of as teeth, which is pretty awesome. Oh, what was I just thinking? Oh, that's right. I was thinking that we could briefly explore some science topics, some trending science topics. I like to check out, I'm in Missoula right now for Drew. So what I do is I go to sciencedaily.com and what I do there is just to kind of see a broad, swath of just news. So imagine you go to a news site, but instead of it being news articles, it's science articles that have just come out. And so I go to sciencedaily.com and then I go specifically to in zoology or endangered animal topics, but I'll go to zoology. And so I'm gonna paste this into the chat here for you. Though, we're really getting to the outer bounds of my tech ability here. Oh, it's just brutal. I'm so bad at this. Here we go. All right. Come on. Oh, you can do it. Oh, come on. There we go. So I'm pasting this Science Daily if you guys want to kind of check this out with me. So here's what we have going on today. Today, top headlines. As the ocean warms, marine species relocate toward the poles. So that headline looks like we have an article actually showing that there is a change to where species are living in response to warming climates. Absolutely a thing. This is really cool. Ancestor of all animals identified in Australian fossils. Hey, that's a big deal. So that came out about 3 days ago. And we can click on it and we can see this came from University of California, Riverside, and they're geologists. And what they're saying is that they discovered the first ancestor on the family tree that contains most animals, including us. And it's kind of a worm-like creature, and had several features that put it to the earlier group of our ancestors. So that's pretty cool for sure. And it looks like these fossils were like over 500 million years old deposits, which are so cool. Let's see. Yeah, it was in PNAS, exactly. Sorry for lag and different things. Yeah, Bjorn, I agree. Isn't that so cool? It's the coolest thing. So cool. Yeah, so sciencedaily.com, and you can go to all different kinds of articles and topics. This is one way that I kind of keep myself updated on just new science that comes out. Now, it's not the actual articles. There's links to those, but there are paywalls and there's all kinds of things that I, ethically disagree with, and it's a whole thing. but we'll leave that alone. But people who are science communicators, read these articles and then publish these kind of blurbs. They're not always perfect, but they do a pretty good job. And so you can certainly check out all kinds of topics that you're interested in, which is pretty sweet. So that's something that I like doing, and I would suggest that you guys all try doing that because it's some good stuff. So I think I had another question from someone about tigers. Why do white tigers have blue eyes? That's Talus has asked that, my friend's son Talus. Why do white tigers have blue eyes? So there's interesting things that happen with color and the things that affect color. And the same things that affect color on the skin of the tigers actually can affect the color of the eyes. And it's kind of like a lack of color. So having blue eyes and having that white fur is like the color cells not really working or even being present. Talus is 5-ish, just so you all know why I am explaining it in this way. There's all kinds of ages watching, which is lovely. So yeah, it's that the same kind of things that help make those bodies and those tiny cells that help make bodies for those tigers. It's the same thing that controls that skin white and also the blue white. It's that the color didn't quite get there. But that's an awesome question, Talus. Thank you. White tigers are really, really cool. All right, so I had a little idea. There's definitely activity in my household and the other rooms. As you know, although we are distanced, there's still 5 of us right now, so it's a busy house despite quarantine. So hopefully the internet doesn't lag. Please let me know if it does. But I had an idea of reading. I wanted to read a little something to you. A little passage that is something that when I teach undergrad intro classes about wildlife and people, and also some of the wildlife management classes I originally took, we had this reading given to us, and I also give it out. Yeah, so let me see. Oh yeah, thanks, the G Feather. That was that's good stuff. I agree. I will happily hop back. Yeah, absolutely, the G Feather. Yeah, I called that Denature, and that's one of the things I'm gonna try to keep doing with Nature League, even though it's on my own. So the graphics and all the intense kind of editing won't be as much, though I have wonderful help. Tamar has awesome ideas for graphics and other things. But I would like to do that pretty briefly, so I'm really glad you enjoyed that. Excellent. And then Bjorn, when did I get fascinated with sharks? From like a ridiculously young age. I just don't even know. I had them around me forever, and like books about them when I was like 3. I just have always liked them. Thanks to my parents providing books and materials. So what I have to share with you guys is called a Sand County Almanac, and sketches here and there. And this was written by Aldo Leopold. Aldo Leopold died in 1948. And so this was published a little bit after he had died. He was part of the U.S. Forest Service, was a professor, and really for North America and for the United States particularly, Leopold is kind of considered the father of wildlife management. And he thought about things in a really beautiful philosophical way, and he was a writer. And what I loved telling my students was just how cool it is that back in the day, even think about Dr. Rachel Carson. She was a scientist but then wrote these books. Scientists were writers. The arts and sciences, these things go together beautifully. And Aldo Leopold was just so wonderful at writing. It was almost like poetry. And he was thinking a lot about the future, and things that he never saw in his lifetime are definitely true now, which is really kind of fabulous. So I thought I would read you The foreword, so just the little intro, it's just a couple pages. Um, and he wrote it from Madison, Wisconsin, March 4th, 1948. So quite a while ago. And here is the foreword from a Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. There are some who can live without wild things, and some who cannot. These essays are the delights and dilemmas of one who cannot. Like winds and sunsets, wild things were taken for granted until progress began to do away with them. Now we face the question whether a still higher standard of living is worth its cost in things natural, wild, and free. For us of the minority, the opportunity to see geese is more important than television, and the chance to find a pasque flower is a right as inalienable as free speech. These wild things, I admit, had little human value until mechanization assured us of a good breakfast, and until science disclosed the drama of where they come from and how they live. The whole conflict thus boils down to a question of degree. We of the minority see a law of diminishing returns and progress. Our opponents do not. One must make shift with things as they are. These essays are my shifts. They are grouped in 3 parts. Part 1 tells what my family sees and does at its weekend refuge from too much modernity, the shack, on this sand farm in Wisconsin, first worn out and then abandoned by our bigger and better society. We try to rebuild with shovel and axe what we are losing elsewhere. It is here that we seek, and still find, our meat from God. These shack sketches are arranged seasonally as a Sand County Almanac. Part 2, sketches here and there, recounts some of the episodes in my life that taught me, gradually and sometimes painfully, that the company is out of step. These episodes, scattered over the continent and through 40 years of time, present a fair sample of the issues that bear the collective label conservation. Part 3, the upshot, sets forth, in more logical terms, some of the ideas whereby we dissenters rationalize our dissent. Only the very sympathetic reader will wish to wrestle with the philosophical questions of Part 3. I suppose it may be said that these essays tell the company how it may get back in step. Conservation is getting nowhere because it is incompatible with our Abrahamic concept of land. We abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. There is no other way for land to survive the impact of mechanized man, nor for us to reap from it the aesthetic harvest it is capable under science of contributing to culture. That land is a community is the basic concept of ecology, but that land is to be loved and respected is an extension of ethics. That land yields a cultural harvest is a fact long known, but latterly often forgotten. These essays attempt to weld these 3 concepts. Such a view of land and people is, of course, subject to the blurs and distortions of personal experience and personal bias. But wherever the truth may lie, this much is crystal clear. Our bigger and better society is now like a hypochondriac, so obsessed with its own economic health as to have lost the capacity to remain healthy. The whole world is so greedy for more bathtubs that it has lost the stability necessary to build them, or even to turn off the tap. Nothing could be more salutary at this stage than a little healthy contempt for a plethora of material blessings. Perhaps such a shift of values can be achieved by reappraising things unnatural, tame, and confined in terms of things natural, wild, and free. Again, that's Aldo Leopold from Madison, Wisconsin, March 4th, 1948. And I am reading this. Excellent. Oh, yay. Yeah, it's definitely Dale up here, the stuff sheet. My study abroad group read that book. Yeah, a man way before his time. Exactly. Yes, the foreword does feel eerily timely. The amazing thing, and somebody mentioned it in the comments, and again, maybe I'll just kind of do some readings from this throughout the week. Who knows? I have my favorites, certainly. Leopold created what is known as the land ethic, which was a way to think about personal ethics. And again, he was way ahead of his time. So he thought about the idea of ethics. The way we think about it is to others, right? To the other, whether that is to a lover, to family, to a fellow human, to strangers, the way that we treat one another within our species. And then we also think about ethics to other living things, maybe non-humans. And this idea of treating something well, and the golden rule, right? And Leopold's land ethic was saying, what if, here's a wild idea, what if we extend the boundary of that ethic and community to include the land, even the non-living things within the land, as part of that ethic? And so his land ethic, which is in here, is one of the parts, which I will happily read maybe sometime later, is about that. It's about expanding that line of what we consider within our ethics to include the land and the things inside of it. And I don't know, it's awesome. It's not perfect. It's, it was a beginnings of sorts, but it really kind of blew my mind when I first read it, when I was 20, when it was first assigned to me during undergrad. And just the idea that the way we think about ethics can be extended to non-living things was just really, really cool. And he writes just so beautifully. So anyway, that was just a little something I wanted to share. I think that, yes, Septimus saying, this is a bummer that we're talking about problems, almost 100 years ago, 70 years ago or so, that still haven't been solved. And that's true. That's undeniable. But there are things that have happened with research and with thinking and with policy, that have. For example, Leopold was not alive to see the passage of the Endangered Species Act. Huge landmark, policy for North America that then extended out, to many other countries. So there are things that have happened, right? And I don't know, we have to kind of get inspired by that, right? Chris just got home from my walk in nature. Nice. Hey, Chris, tell us what your walk in nature was when you have a chance. That might be fun. Yeah, I like people are mentioning in the chat about the idea of what we include within law and policy and the way we understand pain and ethical treatment of non-human animals, which is all really fascinating. And if you were part of the chat or checked it out, the last one we did on Saturday, we talked a little bit about the philosophy of ecology, philosophy of science. Are there still more questions to answer? And the answer is absolutely yes, because of things just like this. Still other species we are learning about. So other questions that I think I was seeing from some others, or I'll take questions inside of the chat. And then the last thing I have for you guys is a little song I might sing and play on the guitar that I've definitely never performed before. So we'll just see how it goes. Yes, that's right. Tamar shared quite a few questions here. Yes, there are indeed. All right, I'm going to check a couple of questions that were sent here while I see if there are any in here. What is your main focus in your studies right now? Yeah, so my studies right now are, it's an interdisciplinary PhD setup, and it investigates the way, there's a couple chapters. So one of the chapters investigates how big data and analytics are used within conservation. One of the chapters looks at the use of genetics in international listings. So like when a species is listed as endangered on the red list, how often does that include something like genetics, especially within the 21st century? Another chapter works within philosophy, looking at the kind of defining of the current mass extinctions we see as natural or unnatural, and human responsibility within that. And then right now, I have a really neat project that's going to be kind of part of my studies, which is working through podcasts, interviewing different people about conservation, for the IPBES, the IPBES, which is the UN's group on biodiversity and ecosystem services, for 2020, where the United Nations is looking to see if we've met certain biodiversity goals. Oh, nice. The Arboretum in Boston. How lovely. That's so cool, Chris. Excellent. All right, Pollyanna. I've been in nature and science, large youth exposure to wonderful channels like yours. Oh, thank you. But I'm 30 and don't know how to switch directions. Well, here's a fun fact. I'm 31 and just switched directions with my PhD to make it interdisciplinary, which included shifting departments in the university, because I felt like the questions I wanted to ask were bigger than just a single department, and it just wound up making sense because my other thing is bringing in arts and sciences and like performing arts within the idea of conservation. So as far as switching directions, there is no age limit. There is no real wall between learning about something and falling in love with it. And then from there, you can ask yourself, is there something I can do daily, whether it's volunteer or for fun or for work, that would let me explore and learn more about this? And then you can look for those opportunities. From there, you see, do these opportunities require a degree? And then if they do, you can then figure it out from there. But a lot of times they might not. So going back and finishing, yeah, exactly. Aria, yep, and Chris talking about going back to school. Yeah, and honestly, you don't necessarily need to go back to school. There are a lot of ways that we can explore the world around us, not necessarily through school, but maybe through projects. There's someone on the chat right now that is doing incredible projects and learning all about different things within international conservation that doesn't have to do with a degree, but rather has to do with documentary and film. So there's ways that we can explore without necessarily going back to college. Though it is really cool to go back to college if that's what you need to learn the things that you'd like to learn. So yeah, switching gears is, I think that is just what life on Earth does, right? Switch gears. Move, adapt, or die, as we say for species. And I think it is the same for individuals, certainly. This is a cool question. Let's see, what does it say? If you could teach anything, what would it be? There is so not one answer. It's so unfair. But I will say, I have loved teaching improv, actually. So theater improv, to science teachers and educators. It's something I've gotten to do each summer for the last 5 years or so. And I love everything about that, interacting with teachers and showing them tools of using improvisation with students, especially within this Gen Z, things that they really crave and need. I think that improvisation and that kind of theater work or exploration can really help with, and within science as well. Love teaching that, certainly. I also love, okay, this is I'm going to be honest, I love tutoring Algebra 2. I really love Algebra 2. I just love Algebra 2. That's just a thing. So I tutor that like privately on the side. That's not necessarily like I teach like a lecture, but I really love it. So let's see. Random, yeah, I know. Classic me. Do I teach any online courses? I have before, like for a community college. I did one. I was like a nutrition professor for a semester online. Like that was really, really random when I was in North Carolina. I was thinking actually of maybe making some little mini lectures on here that would incorporate my material from Wildlife and People, which is that course that I teach. So that might happen. Let's see. Science as a source of inspiration for my music. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so Kelsey, yeah, I am thinking about doing it. It's the kind of material does everything from like history of wildlife management, more North American focused. So I probably wouldn't spend too much time on that because I want it to be more accessible. Then talks a little bit about like population dynamics, so the kinds of things that management is actually used for, and then gets into things like international policy. So how our laws actually implemented at the interface of wildlife and people. What does that look like? What is a happy and healthy Anthropocene from a policy perspective? And then the things that affect wildlife and life on Earth right now. So the big ones, which are things like habitat destruction and fragmentation, pollution. Touch a little bit on invasive species, though that one is tricky and would be its own very fun session. Climate change, all these kinds of things. I also, spend one of the lectures explaining pieces of evolution, natural selection. Like, what is that literally? What does that mean when we say that something is natural selection? Um, yeah. So it looks like, oh my gosh, Mama's on here! Yay, mini lectures. Okay. Um, yes. So I'm thinking about maybe doing that. It'd be lovely. Um, as we wrap up, yeah, I would like to share a little song. Thank you. My stagehand, my companion animal, is handing off the guitar here. Like I said, I've really not ever played this before. This is a song called "Everything Green" by Christine Kane, I think. And this is so beyond random because it's a song that in high school, my two best friends, Scotty and Amy, the three of us like sang and did pieces together. Scotty was usually on guitar, and this is one that she came across and she taught us. So I didn't even really know the original. I just knew the like one that we did. So I never played it on guitar. I just sang it, and we did it in 3-part harmony. So this is like a totally different format here. But it actually relates to a lot of the things we were just talking about. And that's kind of fun. So, oh, that's right. I have water right here. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Yes, that is absolutely from the dollar store, a coconut palm sippy cup. Yep, that's who I am. No apologies. Okay, this should work, and then I'll just need to scroll down, which I might have my stagehand assistant do when I need it. Stagehand, I might need you to do a computer scroll. Um, Scrolling down would be moving it toward you when I say so. All right. Let's see. We've got D, A, G, and D. Okay. Here we go. Oh, gotta move my coconut. And whatever the hell this thing is that Andy's mom brought over. Well, they built a highway without much concern, and we cried for the hills and the trees that were burned. Back before hopelessness, long before greed, when everything must have been green. There was rain, and we danced in it. There was mud, and we ran in it. It was wild, deep inside of everything green. There was pain that we talked about. There was love, and we let it out. We are made in the shade of everything green. We watched as they paved, as they worked, as they tore. You said, I have no faith in this earth anymore. Sounded like hopelessness, sounded like need. I grabbed you, we ran to the trees. Hey, baby Jane. There was rain, and we danced in it. There was mud, and we ran in it. It was wild, deep inside of everything green. There was pain that we talked about. There was love, and we let it out. And we prayed in the shade of everything green. While stars turned to stardust, the angels talked to us. The world all around us came green. Now we have our guns, our machines, and our swords. But I will not hate or destroy anymore. 'Cause after the hopelessness, beyond the fear, we'll wake to the magic that's here. And open our eyes to the rain, and we'll dance in it and the mud. Put your hands in it in the wild, deep inside of everything green. And the pain we can talk about, and the love, just to let it out. We are made in the shade of everything green. Well, Scotty, I hope I didn't let you down too much on that one. But just a little fun something. Oh my gosh, it's Jessie. Look, it's Animal Wonders, you guys. Jane does love to sing too. Oh man, hey Jessie, someone asked about beaver teeth earlier, which was so awesome. And we were talking about how beaver teeth are kind of yellow and orange in color, and that's because they actually have iron within the enamel, because someone was asking how they were so strong. And we definitely, thinking about Huckleberry, the beaver, and the care of Jessie and those at Animal Wonders. And Jessie is working so hard right now, taking care of all of the creatures in her care. It's hard. Volunteer hours are not really happening. So her and her family are working real hard to make sure everything's taken care of. So if you get a chance, definitely send Jessie some love. Check out her videos, Animal Wonders Montana. So yeah. Oh yeah, if you missed that bit, that was probably strange that people were starting to just mention orange. So I mean that was just like random, makeshift guitar playing. Maybe I will find and learn some little tunes just for fun that I can play, and as well as reading some of the Leopold, and I don't know, just a little multimedia fun. So as it is now 2, just gonna leave you guys with this. Remember, life on Earth is incredible. It's amazing. Humans are one of those beautiful things. We can get through this. We are going to evolve. We are going to adapt. Oh, hi, baby Jane. Thoughts? Come here. Hey, Jane, you're going to be here for the closing statement. Like, let's be real. Oh, good. There's a Jane pass off. Hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Oh, hi. There you go. Yeah. Let's love one another. Let's take care of one another, and that includes humans and non-humans. And just remember that this is an evolving situation. Stay informed, and remember that life on Earth has made it through so many things in so many millions of years, and that overall we're gonna be okay. So baby Jane says, oh my God, she's just regal. Hi. If you would like, you can, I'll upload this to the channel, and so it'll be there to watch. and I will alert you all as to the next time. Yep, Jesse, we're all in this together. Love one another and love yourself. How special we are. All are, absolutely. And maybe we'll find a way to talk a little bit more about some individuals, maybe some that are in the care of Jesse at Animal Wonders in our next live stream. Who knows? All kinds of cool things to learn. So take care. Let's keep going on adventures. And yes, Precious Jane says goodbye. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to chatting soon. And be on the lookout for the next A to B video, which I am working on right now. Cheers to all of you. Lots of love, and we will see you next time. I'm just really not good at signing off. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, wait, nope, still, yep, killing it. And, yep, nailed it. Totally, Zachary.